Everybody, welcome back to a new episode of Loose Ciphers. This is where I come up with thoughts completely out of my mind that tie us into a simulation which has been enhanced by our rock idols, our pop idols, our movie idols. The idols have been brought to the forefront. So, what I am going to do is I'm going to tie the simulation from the idols to the simulator. And today we are going to go over the song that got me here. And that song is The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. And that comes from the album The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway by Genesis. I'm going to give you a little Lamb Lies Down on Broadway information. The album was entirely written by Peter Gabriel with the exception of one song. That song was called The Light Dies Down on Broadway, and that was written by Tony Banks and Mike Rutherford. We'll get to that shortly in another video. This covers The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. It's a concept album where Peter got himself involved in some type of esoteric scenario. This album was recorded inside Headley Grange Studio. The studio is inside a castle. This castle was formerly owned by Aleister Crowley, who was considered the most evilest person to ever walk this planet. He is more than likely the beginning of the Church of Satan and the Church of Set and all their, different sets of religions within that occult. So now the Lamb was recorded here. So the band broke off into different spots. The band went out and wrote the music for the song. Peter went off and went into a different area and wrote all this music. They got into a fight towards the end, and they had to finish The Light, which is why Banks and Rutherford wrote The Light. Peter was already gone, but they had to finish the album. So it's not a coincidence, guys. But we'll get into that one later. Here's a couple comments about Headley Grange that make this pretty interesting. Peter Gabriel said, "We were working at Headley Grange, which I felt was partly haunted by Jimmy Page's black magic experiments." Oh, by the way, we're going to break down Stairway to Heaven and the lady who's sure that all glitters is gold and buying the Stairway to Heaven, the City of Gold with Trick of the Tail. But I'm going to be able to probably show you who the lady is that believes all that glitters is gold. She is real, and I'd be willing to bet that it will be her. But I'll get to that when we do the Stairway to Heaven episode. So now back to the Lamb. Steve Hackett has often been heard saying, if anything was haunted, that house was the place. You'd hear extraordinary noises at night. It was almost impossible to sleep. I went to see Steve Hackett in a concert about 5 years ago, and I went to one of those meet and greets, and I talked to him about the Lamb equaling 9/11. And he really got very meek, almost, you could feel very remorseful. A comment, which was amazing to me, was, it wasn't done on purpose. Another comment, after I asked, what about the similarities? He goes, yes, they're very eerie. And apparently, our discussion motivated Mr. Hackett to try to get the band back together. So I almost got Genesis back together in a reunion, because in 2017, March of 2017, articles came out, Steve Hackett plotting a Genesis reunion. This was shortly after our encounter. Now, he told Mail Online a Genesis reunion is possible. I'm speaking to Peter to find out what he thinks about the state of the world. I'm trying my best. Believe me, I won't say any more because I don't want to raise expectations. So at the end of the day, after our conversation, Steve Hackett went and had a conversation with Peter Gabriel to try to get the band together. Peter was having none of it. I think I know why. Because look how it was brought to Steve Hackett. Listen, these guys were young, looking to be rock stars, and all of a sudden they get something like this put in front of them. And, I probably would have drank the potion myself. Come on, guys. We all probably would have. But now, we're at the fever pitch of it all. So these guys got to step up to the plate. So now the Lamb was recorded here. So the band broke off into different spots. The band went out and wrote the music for the song. Peter went off and went into a different area and wrote all this music. So now that just gives you a little background on the music. Now, they got into a fight towards the end, and they had to finish The Light, which is why Banks and Rutherford wrote The Light. Peter was already gone, but they had to finish the album. So it's not a coincidence, guys. But we'll get into that one later. So now The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. How did I get here? I got into a Facebook argument with some high school friends, I guess we'll have to call them now, former high school friends, because scared them the fuck away with this shit. But end of the day, you're not scaring me away. There's a reason why I've gone this far. And it's because the deeper you go, the more truth is being told. That is the bottom line. The story is here, guys. This song, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, the imagery of 9/11, 27 years before 9/11 happened. So I get into this argument where an old high school buddy says, all you conspiracy theorists are nothing but egomaniacs and narcissists. I'm like, did you even do any homework? Why did you make the decision? Well, I got an article from a psychologist from the University of Toronto. So? Do you understand? You're in a simulation. Do you understand that the therapists and the psychologists have been trained by the simulator? Do you understand? The simulator is smart enough to trick everybody on this planet. And I understand that. And I could be being tricked right here, right now. But you have to prove me wrong. Because I've done the work and I can't be debunked. So at the end of the day, when Peter went at a machine, or Peter did whatever he did to communicate with whoever he needed to communicate 27 years before the Twin Towers fell down. And he wrote a story about it. And that story is called The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. So, during all these arguments, I had a high school reunion in this process. We had pictures taken during that reunion. Now, these pictures that I'm going to show you in this video are 100% authentic, and I have thousands of witnesses from my hometown and our high school reunion that know that these pictures are very real. Now, what is in these pictures? Well, there is a picture of a friend of ours. His name is Israel. Israel. His nickname is Rael. Okay? Coincidence number one. Now Rael's playing the bass. Above it, there is a little conscience, a little image of something that looks like Gazoo from the Flintstones era.
Hey, what's the big idea?
You had that coming, dum-dum.
Fred Flintstone's little conscience. Okay? He's got on a cape, and he's got on antenna. And it's very hard and very faint to see, so you'll have an issue finding him. I'm doing as best as I can to show him to you, but he's there. He's not going anywhere. Freeze frame the picture when I give it to you, and look. This collage is giving you an idea where to look on the picture, and then I'm going to show you the original picture so you can look and find him. But you're going to have to take a minute and look at that at your leisure. Now, if you notice, there's a couple orbs in that picture as well. So if you follow those orbs, they will go all the way up to the top of the antennae on top of the helmet that this orb master, Gazoo, Rael, whatever we want to call him, okay, but those orbs go right up in there, right on a nice trajectory. So my assumption is this is an orb master. These are spirits from our loved ones from the past, and this is how they communicate. If you listen to what Tesla had to say about the universe, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, you need to follow frequency, vibration, and energy, and that is all very strongly present within there. So I've been holding on to this. This is 10 years old, this picture right now. And this is going to be tough for a lot of people to accept because, like I said, I have hundreds and actually thousands that have probably seen this picture. And many know it's there, but the cognitive dissonance is very tough. So open your mind a little bit. He ain't going anywhere. Keep looking. Freeze the picture. Whatever you got to do. He's there. So, and eventually we'll get into some orb discussion because I have video of orbs with images of people inside them. I do. And the people that know me know I got it. And they know it's real. So now this image, I'm seeing Gazoo, 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 Gazoo. But all of a sudden I start watching Genesis videos, and I'm seeing Rael, Rael, Rael. So I want you to try to pay attention in the beginning. So as he introduces the song, as Peter Gabriel introduces the song, I'm going to show you some images, and then I'm going to come right back to you, and then we're going to get into the song.
Good evening. Hello, hello. We've written a big lump of story and music, and we'd like to play the whole thing for you tonight. It tells of how a large black cloud descends into Times Square, straddles out across 42nd Street, turns into a wall and sucks in Manhattan Island. Our hero, named Rael, crawls out of the subways of New York and is sucked into the wall to regain consciousness underground. This is the story of Rael.
image is very faint to see, but the image is definitely there. And not only is it there, he's wearing a cape. He has a helmet. He has 3 antennae on that helmet. And he looks just like Rael and Peter Gabriel there as well. So stop those pictures, take a look, and you'll see he's not going anywhere. Now, in the beginning of the song, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, if you listen to the studio album, here you can't hear it all that much, but they do play it here. But if you listen in the beginning, there's a little buzzing going around. They're airplanes. Bzzz. Listen, sounds like airplanes to me. So now, in the beginning of the song, when they're doing, and the Lamb, when they're doing that, you need to envision neo-pagans, the occultists, around the big stew trying to cast a spell. Because that's what they're doing. They're casting the spell. And what is the spell? The spell is for the sheep to lay down. What happened? 2 planes cannot implode 3 buildings, guys. It is scientifically impossible. But you're not talking about it. The spell worked.
And the Lamb lies down on Broadway. Early morning Manhattan, ocean winds blow on the land. Movie Paris is now undone. The all-night watchmen have had the fun, sleeping cheaply on the midnight show. It's the same old ending. Time to go. Get out. It seems they cannot leave their dreams. There's something moving in the sidewalk steam.
So the beginning's fairly obvious, setting up the stage for you. Early morning in Manhattan, ocean winds blowing on the land. The movie Palace is now undone. No doubt. It has been undone, without a doubt. Now, there's something moving in the sign. It seems they cannot leave their dreams. You're brainwashed. You're brainwashed. I'm brainwashed. We're all brainwashed. It's a simulation. If they're tapped into your head, you're brainwashed. Now, I'm brainwashed to wake you up from it. That's all I'm brainwashed for. Not much further than that. But you'll be waking up if you stick around. So, Peter Gabriel writes a lot about steam. Something moving in the sidewalk, steam. Yes, we have an invisible hand. If you look at all the presidents before us, they're all, except for Trump, they all put an invisible hand. And you look at all the leaders of the world, they follow the invisible hand. That's the steam. So we'll get into that as well.
The Lamb lies down on Broadway.
The lamb lies down on Broadway. The sheep stay asleep today.
Nighttime flyers feel their pains. Drugstore take down their chains.
Big Pharma takes down their chains.
And emotion comes in burst, but the gas station can quench that thirst.
3 buildings imploding in their own footprint. Only 2 of them hit by a plane.
Suspension cracked on a main road. The trucker's eyes gleam overload.
That sure looks like suspension cracked on some unpaved roads. A lot of concrete went down that day, didn't it? Trucker's eyes. Oh, overload. And there he is. Rael, the Aerosol Kid, is your sidewalk steam.
How could explosives be placed in the World Trade Center Twin Towers with 50,000 occupants not knowing about it? Well, this is the floor plan. If you had access to the elevator hoistway and you could hack through the 2 layers of 3/4-inch gypsum board protecting the building from a fire rising up through it, you would have access to the core columns and beams, and no one would see you.
Lies down on Broadway and seems right out of place, yet the Broadway street scene finds a focus in its space. Somehow it's lying there, brings a stillness to the air. No man-made light at night is very bright. There's no whitewash dim as the neons dim to the code of white.
Yes, at nighttime there would be no whitewashed victims as there were on 9/11. The MK Ultra mind control brainwashing program Manchurian candidate forgets what he did.
Lies down on Broadway. Susan tired, her work hard done things. Money, honey, neon. Capman's velvet glove, sound the horn, and the Sawdust King spits out his scorn.
The Sawdust King spits out his scorn. Now this was the line that really created the biggest cognitive dissonance within me. For those unfamiliar with cognitive dissonance, which I was until I really experienced it and had to understand it, it's where your whole belief system is really turned upside down. Everything gets thrown away. Whatever you were raised with and grown with is just kind of, it's no longer there anymore. And that's kind of what we're all experiencing right now. Whatever we had, if you're my age or a little bit younger, a little bit older, whatever we had, it's gone. It really is gone right now. So we are experiencing losing everything we had. So, and it's a hard thing to accept. So this cognitive dissonance is very hard to accept. You're sitting on saying, I can't believe you're telling me I'm in a simulation. You're a nut job. And I am a nut job. That's what it takes. Because at the end of the day, we weren't even close to thinking something like this. Now all of a sudden, it really is, it's real. It's really real. So now the Sawdust King spits out his scorn. And I'm like, well, who's the Sawdust King? But the Sawdust King is Jesus. He is this carpenter. He is the Sawdust King. And so I'm like, well, how the hell does Jesus spit out scorn? Couldn't for the life of me figure this out. How does he spit out scorn? And then I, digging and digging and digging. And so I give it to you. Isaiah 45:7 from the King James Version. I form the light and create the darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Now I understand. That is how the Sawdust King can spit his scorn. And that's why I believe we are in a conspiracy within a conspiracy within a conspiracy from the Lord. Because he's creating all this evil on the planet. Now, the evil can be to teach you one of two things. Okay? You can either learn to be resourceful, which we are not, or we become the resource. Can't see it many other ways. Because if we are not resourceful for each other, for this place, then what good are we? They don't need us. That is evident. They need what's in us, our blood, our marrow. So that's why we are distracted with color and race and religion, everything on the outside, because they're coming for the inside.
Time is the single most precious commodity in the universe.
It comes from people. Each unit is refined from approximately 100 human beings.
What?
Your planet is a farm.
Now the human beings on your planet are merely a resource.
Don't get on that ship! The rest of the book, To Serve Man, it's a cookbook.
Wonder Women, you control your blind. Don't look at me, I'm not your kind.
He's not our kind. He's Rael. Who is Rael? Is the answer within the question? Well, Rael on The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway is a hero protagonist. Is Rael a hero protagonist on the planet?
Something inside me has just begun. God knows what I have done.
He sure knows.
And the Lamb lies down on Broadway. On Broadway. On Broadway. On Broadway. You see the lights are always bright on Broadway. See, there's always magic in the air. See, the lights are always bright on Broadway.
Now, The Lamb is just the title song on the whole concept album, and it gets really, really deep, and a lot of it I haven't able to cipher through, but hopefully I snap a few people awake here, and they start digging into their opinions on it, and maybe they follow along, and we can do all this together and try to pull out some more stuff. But I got plenty of songs ready for The Lamb. Plenty of Genesis. Obviously, I'm starting here in the Genesis world because it's the beginning, right? Isn't that what Genesis means? In the beginning. So we start with Genesis. You see the coincidences that are really not coincidences. And you start opening your mind a little bit. Because like Frank Zappa said, the mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's opened. So I'd like to thank everybody for watching another episode here of Lou Ciphers. And I'm going to try to get as many original songs as I can get out. But obviously I don't have the library like these people have. But I got a dozen that I can get out to you. Most of them are pretty much right in line with the things that we're doing here right now. So this song is called Crimson Sun. And I'm just taking a key word or key line that came from the lyrics of the song. Respect the fool on the road less traveled on. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you again real soon with some more simulating conversation.
Defined, and then you'll find what opinions are made and actions define. Oh, and then you'll find what opinions are made and actions define. And then you'll find what opinions are made and actions define. Sipping on your morning blood, feeding on your ginseng love, swim through the raven hair. Times like these, baby, no one comes prepared. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Stop, you're gonna lose me. Stop, this don't amuse me, baby. We've been through this before. Stop, you're gonna lose. Stop, this simple truth lies just beyond your door. Are made and passion defines. And then you'll find what part you play in the laughter divine. And then you'll find the mission at stake is the heart of the pride. And then you'll find what the emotions are made and cattle provide. Strumming on for one long song, winding down the road unknown. Beyond the hill, the crimson sun. Respect the fools on the roads that's traveled on. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh stop, you're gonna lose me. Stop, this don't amuse me, baby. We've been through this before. Stop, you're gonna lose. Stop, this simple truth lies just beyond your door. What opinions are made and actions defined.